Hey guys, this is UBR Tech back with another video. Today's video is going to be a review of the Glock 43. So before we start, I'm going to show that I'm clear. There's no magazine here, and there is no ammo in the chamber. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over all the features of the firearm from front to back. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the barrel, and the barrel is a 3.4-inch polygonal barrel. Glock says that it makes it easier to clean, and it has a better bullet to barrel fit, and it also increases the velocity of the projectile. That's coming from Glock. Next, there's no Picatinny rail, so it's just a smooth surface here. It's a Glock. I can only assume that there's going to be a ton of options out there to have like a light or a laser, and they'll figure out a way to attach things. Next, there's a chamber indicator right here, so if you have a round in the chamber, this little piece right here will stick out, and you can rub your finger across it to know that you have a round in the chamber. Next is the slide serrations, and they're only in the rear. They are nice and deep, so it gives you a nice grip to hold on to check to see if there's a round in the chamber. Some people might think it's a negative not to have it in the front. Me personally, I don't really care, as long as they give you something that you can hold on to so you can rack the slide. Next, we'll talk about the sights that come with the Glock, and you can see the person who owns this Glock swapped out for aftermarket sights. The sights that come with this are the normal Glock sights, which is UDOT sight. I'll pop up the regular looking sights on the screen so you can see what they normally come with. And again, they're made out of polymer. They're really not that great. You should swap them like right away. I've heard a lot of people say that they just fall off and they're not that reliable. So again, I would swap them out. Next is the trigger, and the trigger is a 4.11 pound trigger. At least that's this one. And I did the trigger pull off camera just so we can make this video a little bit quicker. All right, so before we demo the trigger, I just want to point out the trigger safety right here. And if that's not pressed in, then you can't pull the trigger. See, I'm not pushing it in. You can't pull the trigger without having that pushed in. So just wanted to point that out. Now let's get to demoing this trigger. So you pull back, then you hit the wall, and then when you hit that wall, a little bit of sponginess. Reset is pretty short. Let's do that. Let's do it one more time. So you pull, you hit this wall. Yeah, it's kind of spongy, and then, like I said before, reset short. Yeah, it's a decent trigger. It won't stop you from shooting well at the range though, which is important. While we're talking about the trigger, one thing to note is that you're going to have to pull the trigger to field strip the firearm. To me, that's not a big deal, but to some people that is a huge deal, and that's why I mention it. In my opinion, as long as you're safe and you're making sure that you're clear and you're pointing the firearm in a safe direction, that shouldn't be a big deal. Next is the reversible mag release. So this mag release right here, it's again just okay. There's nothing great about it, nothing really bad about it. The nice thing is you can swap that out to the other side if you're left-handed. So next is the grip texture, and again, we're not talking about anything really special here. It's going to be basically like your typical Glock grip texture. And as you can see, the person who owns this, they opted to put on some Talon grips, and it does feel really good with the Talon grip. So it's something to think about if you do decide to get a Glock 43. As far as Ergos feels, it does feel pretty decent in your hand. It's small, again, keep that in mind. So if you do put the flush mag in here, your pinky is going to hang off the bottom. It does come with two mags, one with a pinky extension and one with the flush. So you're probably, if you have large hands, you're going to want to use that extension, or as you can see, the person who owns this also opted to get some base plates from Terran Tactical. That will solve the issue too if you have large hands, because it gives you a lot more to hold on to. It does make it feel a lot better. And since we're talking about ergos, the size of the Glock 43, as far as the height, it's 3.9 inches. The width, the thickest part, like right around here, is 1 inch. The width of the grip right here is 0.9, and the length from tip to back where this piece is, it is 6.2 inches. So the mags that it comes with are 2 polymer mags. Keep in mind that these are aftermarket base plates, so when they do come from factory, one will have a pinky extension and the other one will just be a flat flush round mag. Both of them will hold 6 rounds, and in today's market with other guns in the same size category having a lot more round capacity, 6 rounds is extremely low. One thing to note about the magazines, they are really easy to load, so that's something to note. Next I want to talk about the experience in shooting this firearm. And the one thing I can say is that it is snappy. Even though it's snappy, it's really accurate. There is no learning curve. From my first mag to the last, it was extremely accurate the entire time. Also, it runs like a Glock. There was no malfunctions. I ran some reloads through it. Even the 147 grain rounds that I ran through this thing ran flawlessly, no issues. Again, it runs like a Glock, and that's a good thing. There isn't much really to say because it shoots like a Glock, and it's, you know, it's a good carry pistol. The one thing I can say is that I was shooting some 147 grain ammo through this thing, and when I was doing that, the trigger was irritating my finger, and I think it was from, see how it has these ridges in the trigger? I'm not sure if that was irritating my finger or maybe it was the trigger safety, this piece right here. I'm really not sure, but something was irritating my finger. Regardless, that's just me. Not saying that when you shoot this thing it's going to hurt your finger. It's just, this is something that bothered me because everybody else that shot this at the range had no issues with it. And also keep in mind, it was only when I shot the 147 grain ammo. The other ammo that I shot, I think it was 124 and 115, everything was fine, didn't irritate my finger at all. It was only with the 147 grain. All right guys, now we're at the part where we go over all the highlights of the review. The Glock 43 is going to be a good option for concealed carry. Ergos are good, decent trigger, and it's going to run like a Glock, which means it's going to be reliable and accurate. The bad things are you're going to have to swap out the iron sights right away. The ammo capacity is way too low, and it's a snappy shooter, and that's why I scored it a 7.1. Guys, if you thought this video was helpful, please give it a big thumbs up. If you have any questions, please put it in the comments below. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. Every subscriber helps the channel grow. Thanks for watching my video, and I'll see you in the next one.